Section 8 clients. Do you get like a list of people?
My name is Aline, and I just recently.
Okay.
So think about your workflow. Again,
I don't know how to do it.
I know how to do it, and I'm trying to instruct other people to do better in their business, but I also have to do better in my business.
Hey, everyone out there in YouTube land and Facebook, in our own Facebook group, Metro Detroit Off Market Real Estate Group. I'm really, really happy to bring on this guest today that I've known personally for a while in my wholesaling business, as well as, he's helped me out a lot. I hope I've helped him as much as I can. So, but we've had him on the podcast before. It was over a year ago, so I wanted to bring him back on. If you haven't seen that prior, go back in our archives in YouTube and check it out. So without further ado, Mr. Jay Jonez, how you doing today?
What's going on, Randy Ram? I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good.
Awesome. So you're not only a entrepreneur, a investor, a real estate agent, and you still have a day job?
Yes, sir. That is right.
One more. A YouTuber as well.
And I YouTube as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's never enough time in the day, man. But yeah, yep. Those are my income streams, and that's what I'm working on.
That's awesome. So I'm really, really excited to kind of get your take. Every time you go live, basically I try to watch it. So, when you started your channel, you started way before I did, by the way. But it was just real estate, and now you've gotten into some reaction videos as well, but you still bring in real estate into it. So,
absolutely.
So why don't we tell us, we want to, because we've done a video before with you telling your whole origin story and everything. And if you want to check that out, please, I'll link to it somewhere if you're watching the replay, that is. But just give us a quick overview of how you got started in real estate and, how you got to where you're at now.
Yeah. So, man, now I get to really, really tell my story from this vantage point, which is great. So I started off in 2018. So I was 27 years old. And I started off wholesaling, right?
Okay.
Like I said, like a lot of people figure out how to get started into real estate. They don't have much money. But I knew I had the hustle, I had the grind, and I was willing to figure out this wholesaling thing. So I started off at 27, and for 2 years, I strictly did wholesaling. I didn't try to fix the flip. I didn't try to do any creative financing. I just wanted to learn wholesaling, and that's all I focused on. And after I wholesale and I learned that skill, I then third year started to get into my real estate license, right? After figuring out opportunities that I passed up on and how I could become more of a real estate professional and entrepreneur, I decided to become a real estate agent year 3. And in that same year, which is COVID, I was able to obtain my first fix and flip. So then I became an investor. And then I started fixing and flipping some homes. And I started using all those skills from wholesaling. Then I was listing properties, helping buyers find homes, as well as flipping houses. So I started to kind of mix and mingle the three and found a way to be able to do it almost kind of seamlessly, with my marketing, and just be able to have multiple ways to skin a cat. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. And then now I'm finally at the point of investing into rentals, and I like to say, an investor landlord. And so I've got my third property, rental property that I'm working on. and listed. And so then I started getting into creative financing. So I kind of slowly progressed into different things, but I started off wholesaling, which is still the foundation of my business and how
Mhm.
I learned real estate. And that's my story. And I have a 9 to 5 as well. And I still work that 9 to 5 till this day. I utilize that 9 to 5 as my business partner.
Right.
And so it's some days are very, very hard, but I just happen to figure it out, man. And so I'm able to juggle those, and it's all about time blocking for me, and that's what works. And that's kind of my story, and real estate is
And how did your YouTube follow up into that? The YouTube end.
yeah. So when I first started my YouTube journey, it was really to document the process, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
as I was starting wholesaling, I would make videos of me going and meeting with the seller, walking through homes, and then I even started doing some of my projects. And so it
Mhm.
was document the process thing, and I enjoyed it. And then I started to, like you said, started doing more like reaction videos. I just started to pivot, right? You start figuring out certain things aren't working, what is working, and then
Yep.
I figured it out. And like you said, I always try to wrap in real estate. So I give them what they want, but I always put the medicine in the candy, is what I call it. And then I give them real estate. We talk finances and money. And that's kind of what I've been able to do. But real estate, I mean, the YouTube was always just to be able to show what I'm doing and document the
Right.
process so that I can look back and see, like, oh, wow, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. Look where I started. And I have done that.
Mhm.
I have done some reflection. So, and then I turned it into kind of entertainment.
Yeah, that's always good. And the thing is, the thing I like that, yeah, you did pivot to some reaction videos, but like you said, it still brings in you still tie in real estate. And it's not like these are not your opinions. I mean, they're your own opinions,
Yeah.
and you just get to get a little bit further in depth into it. So if anybody does want to go watch this channel, it is linked in the description, but it is at Real Estate Jay Jonez. Jones is with a Z, just like you see on the screen. And you check him out on YouTube. But all of his links, his Instagram, his Facebook, and his YouTube links are in the description. I did add those. So, um, you know, so with that is, you know, now you got the YouTube going, you got uh your rentals going. Now, what's your criteria for a rental to be able to cash flow? Like after everything's paid, is it a couple $100? Are you looking for a home run, like $1,000 a month?
Yeah.
Like
So
what is it you're looking for?
yeah, like minimum, I try to shoot for at least $500 a unit, right? For single
Uh,
family. And so
yep.
that's what I aim for. Anything over that will be just excellent. But that's what I go for. So
Okay.
when I run the numbers, of course, I'm trying to make sure that, okay, yeah, if it starts off at, like the one house I have now in Oak Park, awesome deals, a subject to, it's
Mhm.
gonna make me after expenses about $700 to $800 a month, right?
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah. But when I started, I always put in my capex, my maintenance, and I'm like, after all of it
Yep.
said and done, am I gonna make at least $500 a unit, right? And so that's
Mhm.
kind of my way of doing it. When I run those numbers on a rental.
So when are you going to use these strategies and go into multifamily?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. When I feel like, I'm still early in the single family game. So I still
Okay.
want to
Okay.
continue to get up some single families, but that multifamily is like right here in the back of my head. And so I
Yep.
still want to, just like how I started off wholesaling, I just want to
Yep.
focus on just the single families, do really well, master it, go through the landlord processes, and then once I feel comfortable enough, then I definitely know I'll jump into the multifamily. So I'm just at that point where I'm just like,
Yeah.
just get your units up, to where I want to kind of cash flow a month.
Yeah.
And then I want to get into multifamily. Absolutely.
So I heard it like this that I heard it actually from Jerry Norton, who's a famous YouTuber and self-proclaimed um, master of,
Yeah.
wholesaling and all that. So
Yeah.
but he and I'm sure I got that saying wrong, but whatever.
I got you. I
But
got
he's
you
a great
saying.
guy to learn from. I will say that he's a great guy to learn
Absolutely.
from. So but he had it where, think of it like a 4-year freshman, sophomore,
Mhm.
junior, senior. Okay. And freshman is like wholesaling. Okay. And it's like even parts of fix and flips, like wholetailing and things like that.
Yeah.
And then going into sophomore is like a fix and flip, being able to get as much of that possible. And then going into junior is like, being able to hold rentals where you're getting
Right.
some
Right.
passive income, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then senior is like,
The
okay,
multi.
now we're going to multifamily where there's some
Mhm.
bigger numbers here, some bigger returns, things like that. So
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
maybe some syndications, things like,
Yeah. You can start getting a little
but
more
yeah,
advanced. But yeah, I think everything needs its own attention, and
yes,
if you happen to expand on that stream, then great. But yeah, like you said, like just start off here, do that, master it, do your thing, and then move up. And you kind of do it's like a natural progression too. I started to
yeah.
notice.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, one thing that I've noticed is, like at least for me, systems are a huge thing. Like
Mhm.
you said, the time blocking. Okay. Time blocking and systems are
Yeah.
like my two biggest things that what helps me succeed in this business. So what systems have you put in place to kind of help you manage all your everything that you're doing from your real estate business
Mm.
to your investing business to YouTube to
Yeah.
even your day job?
Yeah. So like on the like let's say like the wholesaling end, my
Yeah.
biggest process, and that's kind of how my like all my deals start off with is wholesaling, meaning the marketing from wholesaling. So cold
Okay.
calling, sending out mailers. So I kind of start there step one with everything. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to take, say, one seller, because I'm calling people that are tax delinquents or pre-foreclosures or probates, that might end up
Right.
becoming an agent lead, right? Or might become a
Right.
wholesale lead. So I always start there because I'm marketing and I'm just getting my message out there. Hey, do you want cash for your home or are you looking to list your home? Right. So I start
Mm-hmm.
there for my wholesale business and then that can branch out into other things. And one of my biggest things really that's helped me as far as a realtor, real estate agent, wholesaler is my title
Mm-hmm.
company. The title company that
Okay.
I use has made my life so much easier because once I'm able to get that deal together, rather whatever kind of deal it is, then it's a matter of okay, title company, what do I need to close this thing? They're a big part of my
Yeah.
process, right? So shout out to Michigan Investment Title out in Romeo.
Most
So they're
definitely. I've heard
yeah,
nothing but good things about them, by the way. So
yeah, I've been using them for years. So they're a big part of my process when it comes to getting a deal closed. Cold calling is a big deal, a big thing for just getting leads in, and then me being able to figure out what type of lead it's going to be. Um,
okay.
and then as I bring them in, um, for the fix and flip, it's funny because I have a whole contractor guide in my Microsoft OneNote of what kind of toilets can I buy? How much is that toilet?
Got it.
Vanities, contractors. So when I do a fix and flip, because I've done a couple already, I literally go right
Mm-hmm.
to that thing and I say, okay, I already know what toilet I'm going to get. So there's no need for me to go in there. Right.
Yep.
I already kind of know how much it's going to cost. So when it comes to my fix and flip, which also kind of goes into my rental process as well, I
Yeah.
already know what materials I'm looking to use. So I like those are things that I've developed. And like you said, processes are everything. It just makes things a little bit easier. You don't have to second guess stuff. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
big on creating a process, reworking it until I get it right. Because you really never get a perfect process. But when you can get it to
Yeah.
work, that's all I'm trying to do. And it makes things easier to run when I'm a real estate agent, a wholesaler, or I'm fixing and flipping because I know that where it's starting and where it's stopping.
Oh, most definitely. And that's the biggest thing is that uh the processes that you use and how you go from start to finish. Now, out of these processes, how many of them are you pretty much hands off on?
Probably the when I do a fix and flip, those are the ones I'm
Mhm.
like hands off on, right? So I'll order the materials, I'll get them shipped there. I usually have my team, pretty much go and tell me what I need and I verify. So I'm pretty like hands off on the fix and flip part of it. I'm always
Okay.
going to the property though and checking up and making sure things are
Yeah.
done. But I'm pretty hands off. Like I'm not touching a hammer or picking up a drill.
Mhm.
In the agent side and the wholesale side, I'm pretty hands-on because again, I'm cold calling. So I'm kind of waiting to generate those leads. So I'm pretty hands-on in that area when it comes to the lead
Okay.
generation. But when it comes to like the fixing the flipping and the rentals, I'm a little more
Mhm.
hands-off because I'm just like trying to just go to my exit strategy. And at
Right.
that point, you're kind of pushing checks, right? Pushing checks and making sure you get inspections. But I'm like way more hands-on when it comes to like the wholesale part and just being an agent. Um,
Mhm.
so that's the part I'm kind of more hands-off on is the fix and flips and stuff.
That's awesome though. So because my thing is this, the more so you develop processes so that you can become hands off. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's not to say you're taking yourself out of everything. It's to say, okay, I'm going to put a process involved where maybe I'm in the beginning, I may be checking it up on the middle, and I'm in the end.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
everyone else is doing work in between where that frees my time up to do other things,
Yeah. And
you
that's like
know?
even when I had a virtual assistant, I've had a couple virtual assistants, and that they have helped me be hands off. Right, I don't have one now, but I did have one I had for like almost 2 years. Then I had a cold caller and an admin, and at that point, they were just doing their thing, and I was just kind of checking up on them, making sure we were getting leads in,
Yeah.
and we were getting things skip traced. And I did enjoy that. I did enjoy it a lot. It
Hmm.
is just work though. You have to always follow up with them, but that
Yep.
is one way to become more hands off if you don't want to do the marketing, which I kind of enjoy a little bit. But if you want to
Hmm.
be more hands off, virtual assistants were great though. And she just reached out to me earlier at the gym looking for work. And I was like, you know what? Hit me up at the end of February because I think I might need to use her so that I don't
Yeah.
have to do admin work, and she could do that and I could just kind of focus on something else.
Most definitely. And so I have a few students that I'm actually teaching about wholesaling at the moment. And I actually we went through a solid course about systems.
Hmm.
And part of the systems in there, basically, we talked about virtual assistants. And I went over on how to hire a virtual assistant and how
Definitely.
to interview them, how to talk with them.
Hmm.
And, whether it be somebody from here, whether it be somebody from another country, it's all the same, you know?
Yep.
So, the biggest thing is now you're stepping into a role of somebody doing things to now you're stepping into the role of a boss and it's not for you to act ignorant or do anything. Now you got to be a teacher, you
Hmm.
know, you got to
Yep.
be, you got to be a teacher and know when things are being picked up pretty fast and then when things are just being dragged out.
Absolutely.
So, I always say, like, hey, I'll give anybody the chance, but I'm going to be pretty quick to, like, if you don't work out, I'm going to be quick to fire you. Sorry.
Hmm. Yeah. Slow
Because
to hire,
time is
quick to
money.
fire. Yep. Slow to hire,
Exactly.
quick to fire, man. I mean, that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yep. So, now with that being said, obviously you've had virtual assistants, you've had, so going through this, do you have anybody here like and working for you full time, say whether it be an assistant or whether it be a contractor or anything like that, or do you sub everything out?
Yeah. So no, I don't have like an assistant or anyone full time. But when it comes to my fix and flips, yeah, I have like my contractor who's pretty much my main guy, right? He's my go-to guy.
Yep.
And I have pretty much a go-to plumber. So
Hmm.
go-to plumber, go-to electrician. and we all kind of work in sync. So when I do get a property under contract and I'm like, hey, I'm looking to buy it, you know, we have a process and I have a guy, boom, call them, and then we have a whole thing that we do. So as far as on like the renovation side, yeah, I definitely got a team of people that I can call, and they're pretty much the same team that I've been working with from, you know, my first house, and then I've kind of got a
Yep.
solid team to where it's like I know this guy's gonna go out there and do his thing, just go and trust and verify pretty much,
Yep.
and then, you know, get things moving. So on the renovation side, yeah, I got a team, and they're pretty solid, man. They're great. They work with me to the end.
Yep.
You know, and they're willing to even teach me, right? And I'm always learning.
Yeah.
Every house that I get, man, I'm like,
Oh,
I'm kind of like, you know, I'm kind of looking to learn, and they're always telling me things like, hey, next time look out for this, or, you know, even buy materials. So they help me as well. So they're a big part of my team, and that's who I always go to when it comes to my fix and flips.
I definitely would love to go through maybe one of your sub two deals as well, just to
Let's
kind of
go.
see how you structured it and things like
Yeah, man.
that. So
You know what,
that'd
man?
be awesome.
I came on this channel because I want to talk real estate, man. I enjoy it. I
Yes.
love it. So yeah, man, I would love to
Yes.
talk about that deal because that was a sweet deal, man. So yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. Now, quick question. I don't want to pivot away from that, but you know, are you with all your rentals that you have, are you managing them yourself, or do you have a property manager?
Yeah, I'm doing them myself, right? I only have 3. I figure after maybe 5 or so, I can kind of maybe figure out if I need to have that conversation. But the 2 that I have, because I'm looking to rent out the 3rd one right now,
Yeah,
they are Section 8. So you know, relatively, pretty
relatively
decent.
easy.
Yeah, but of course, I
Are
you know
they
you need.
easy? Do you have like a an app, like, you know, like there's like, are you taking cash underneath the table, putting underneath your suitcase? Like, how are you getting the funds from there, you know, from the tenant, you know, in order to make everything recordable, to kind of get
Oh
everything on the up and up, you know,
yeah.
so things like that.
Yeah. So with the Section 8 tenants, they get a voucher. And that voucher basically says, hey, if they can afford this much, and they
Mhm,
pay either everything or you pay utilities. I usually say
mhm,
A, they pay everything. So that voucher will say, hey, I can afford $1,700 a month. And as long as it fits my, you know, rental criteria and rental rates, then that voucher will pay me every month on the first.
mhm.
So that,
Okay.
you know, that's how I'm getting the money in. So, you know, I have my LLC set up, and then they
Yep.
put the money in there, and that's how I get it recorded. And you know, it's Section 8, so you know, you deal with a different type of tenant.
Now,
But
are all of them Section 8 at the
yeah,
moment?
yes, the 2 that I have are Section 8, and the one that I'm going to be putting under contract, I'm screening tenants now, but I would like for that also to be Section 8, and I have 2 people lined up. So yes, the 2 that I have are Section 8.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really good to know, because actually, you know, homeowners, or not homeowners, landlords, they don't like Section 8 tenants, and because it
Mhm.
has a bad rap. But in my opinion, it's guaranteed money. You know,
Yeah.
who all during COVID, when nobody was paying, who was paying? Section 8.
Land Section 8 landlords. And you know what? You brought up
Yeah.
a very, very great point. What was his name? He was an electrician on my first flip. I remember I was speaking to him, and I was like, you know, freaking out about the electrical at the house, and he hit me up and said, yeah, you know, I got some Section 8 houses in East Point and Warren. And
Hmm.
he's like, man, I'm still getting paid. You know, my other friends that have properties during COVID, he was like,
Yep.
they're struggling to get payments. And I was like, and I was already thinking about Section 8 about 2 years before he said that. And I said, you know
Hmm.
what? You know, and I got a 9 to 5, and I'm thinking about the expenses, and I don't want to miss payments. You know, definitely when you have
Yep.
mortgages on these properties. And I'm like, well, at least if I can get 5 Section 8 homes in my eyes, then I'll go cash tenant
Yep.
after the 5 is what I would like to do. But yeah, I mean, the money's coming in, man. Money's coming in.
Yep.
And I mean, it's hard to beat. Yes, you still got to screen your tenants, you know, like you would do a cash tenant, but it's
Hmm.
guaranteed money. And the housing authority that I had to deal with, I mean, they were pretty good to deal with. Once I got past their inspection, Section 8's inspection, it was like money's coming in every first of the month. I get my email, they're gonna pay me on the
Yeah.
first. Cool, money's there. I
Most definitely.
I just can't beat it. I don't have to
Yeah,
chase
you
money
can't
down.
beat it. It's like why choose some uncertainty?
Yeah, and here's the one thing that I now can speak on for Section 8. So there is a way to get 100% of your rental funds. So Section 8 normally pays 70%, and then the tenant is responsible for the 30. So you got to go
Right.
chase down your 30 from the tenant. But if your
Right.
tenant goes there and they say, hey, I had a seasonal job and I lost my job, they then just file a piece of paperwork that says employment change. And then you'll get a letter back from Section 8. And this happened to me on both the homes. We're going to pay at 100%. I'm
Wow.
like, oh, okay. Like, obviously, I'm like, well, hey, guys, get back to work. But I just got a letter that says you're going to pay me 100% the rent. And this is 100% true. And it's happened on both my properties. So you can get 100%.
I just got to worry about the utilities, them paying the utilities, So
yeah.
But
And they got to pay the utilities, pay the water, and I tell them, if I get a bill that comes to my house, you are responsible for this, and you got to pay this, but and they happen to find a way to find that money when it comes to the utilities. So, it is what it is.
Well, yeah, because that's the good thing about Section 8 is nobody wants to get off that program,
Exactly.
Because that your rent is your biggest expense,
Yeah.
So,
they're going to be homeless, if they
Yeah.
happen to lose this voucher from a business standpoint. They need this voucher, right? You're a cash tenant and you can vet them out effectively and they'll be, sometimes they're good. But they can just up and leave, and then you got to go find them in order to sue for them and get the money. These people, they need this voucher. They're a little more appreciative of you giving them the home, because if they lose
Most
it,
definitely.
they don't have anywhere to go. And
Yeah.
so they don't want to lose their voucher. They want to stay there. And so now as a landlord, you're like, okay, they want to stay here. They're incentivized to stay here because they'll lose their voucher, and I can get possibly 100% or even 70% of the rent, which is going to still cover whatever mortgage that I got on it.
Right.
And still cash flow. Like, man, I'm taking the deal.
Most definitely. And I mean, why not? As a landlord, it just makes 100% business sense,
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to fix the house up, and all those things. They're going to come. Those things happen with tenants. But look, man, I can get the rent 100% or even 70%. Man, I'm in it, man.
Yeah. Now, Roro brings up another an interesting question. It says, is subject to easy to come across? Okay. I really appreciate you putting it. And anybody who does have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. Go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll answer them as we go. So, is subject to easy to come across? I know as a wholesaler, I pitch it all the time, but I haven't had a deal yet with it. I try to, but
I'll speak for myself as well. I pitched it a lot over the 5-6 years. I've probably gotten a couple times at bat, maybe 3, maybe 4, right? Of people that have really considered it. And then I've actually went to the home, seen the house, and then start talking a deal. But really, out of all those subject to deals, I came across one that made sense. So to me, no, they're not easy to come across for me, right?
Yep.
I do see some wholesalers or investors that are coming across these deals a lot in other markets. For me, it's a little tough, right? But I've gotten better at questioning to open them up to it, but it's not, I don't think it's easy personally.
Right.
But
I think the
it's
higher the price point might be the easier it is to talk to them about it.
It could be. Yeah, because I mean, I love to talk about the deal that I got, the subject to deal that I got, if you want to go into that.
Most definitely. Just real quick, the CEO, I love the name, by the way, on YouTube. Hey, Randy, hope all is well, bro. Thanks for all the videos. Appreciate all you're doing for us. So that's awesome. So, and then Robo says, is it possible to do a subject to deal on a foreclosed property? So
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can. I haven't had much success with it because normally by that time the seller is in a bad situation. They don't want to answer
yeah,
your phone until the week of the
yeah.
auction. And then you really can't strike. I mean, you can strike a deal, if you got the funds, but a lot of times they don't hit you up in enough time to be able to structure a deal. So the answer to that question is yes. And from my experience, when I've tried to do that and pitch it to them, it's already become too late. Um, and they're already in that
So
situation.
so from what I've seen and heard about that is yeah, like you said, it is possible. Just know that you're probably going to be paying more to
Mhm.
get the deal done. What I mean, more out of pocket.
Yeah.
So usually subject to deals are let's get as low as out of pocket cost as possible.
Right.
But you're probably going to be paying not obviously the full extent, but you got to bring all the rearages up to normal. Okay.
Hmm.
So that's the key thing is with that.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting about that. And I'm, if it makes sense, it makes sense. If you're only like 3 months behind and they're foreclosing, it might be worth it,
Yeah.
you know.
But I feel like a
But if
year.
you're like a year behind, like you were in with COVID, or 2 years behind, and now you're at $20,000,
I've seen it.
unless that house is, four or $500,000, which it could
Mhm.
be,
Yep.
then it might not be worth it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So unless it has a low interest rate. So there's the pros and cons. Everything has a balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So am I going to overpay for something like that? No. But if it has a good interest rate and now I'm doing a little bit more out of pocket, then it'll be good.
It's possible. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's why I love creative financing, man.
And then REOs are normally not assignable, would require a double close or transactional funding. That is correct, but we're not talking about REOs
No,
here.
not bank
Okay.
calls. Yeah.
Not bank owned. It's completely different. So why don't we go ahead and talk about your deal? And I'd love to hear about this. And we
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yeah. So I call this the subject to deal. I'm gonna
Okay.
actually put it on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna work on that video Sunday. I
Okay.
absolutely, from a numbers standpoint, love this deal. And the reason why, and I came across this cold calling and just
Hmm.
went through the normal questioning, the lady, at the time she was sick and she had a few houses and she just wanted to let this one go. Beautiful
Hmm.
area in Oak Park. And I just asked her, you know, hey, do you have a mortgage on the house? She says yes. She tells me the mortgage amount. And then I go and see it's worth 240 and she owes about 171. And so I
Okay.
go, okay. And then I start figuring out how much work it needs. I'm like, oh crap, you're only gonna make like $10,000 on it. I'm like, not worth it. And then I hit her up and I said, well, would you be open to if I took over the payments of the property, and then I own the home and you don't have to make any payments, and then I also bring up your credit score
Right.
because you haven't made payments. And this is what I did. So here's the meat, here's the potatoes.
Yep.
five
So was
thousand
she
dollars.
behind?
She was behind. Well, was she behind? No, 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 no. She was not behind. She was
Okay.
not behind. And this is why the deal was so green for me. It was incredible. She was not
Yep.
behind, but she was having a financial hardship where she was like, I'm getting to that point where I'm not going to be able to make any more payments.
Right.
Right. Because she was already becoming late, but she was just before the 30 days. And so then I said, well, I can give you $5,000 down. Right.
Hmm.
And then what else did I do? So $5,000 down. Her monthly payment is $930 a month.
Okay.
And the rental rates over there are $1,900. Now the
Okay.
house needed some work, right? And I just
Hmm.
calculated all my numbers, and it cost me about $21,000 to fix her up.
Okay.
And then the interest rate, it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was 40 years because she did a loan mod in 2016. So 40
Okay.
years at a 5.5%.
Okay. It's not
Right.
bad.
So it's not bad. Interest rates at the time were 7%.
Yeah.
I was like, and I called, and I actually called and verified, and that's what the deal was. They said this is a conventional loan. This is 40 years, 930. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And then I'm like, the spread on the rent was nice. And I said, okay, I gotta take the deal. I was like, I gotta take the deal. And I was like, and then the rehab was just, you really just needed a kitchen, right? You really just needed a kitchen. New furnace was in there. AC unit is a little questionable. The roof is good. Hot water tank. And then I had to update the plumbing. And I was like,
Okay.
it just worked, bro. And it was in a beautiful location in Oak Park. And it was just like check mark after check mark. And I got a whole deal calculator. I think I might have showed you
Yep.
before.
Oh yeah.
And
I actually use yours as a reference for the deal calculator that I created. So yeah.
Yeah. So I
You
used
know.
that thing, and worst case scenario numbers turned out green. And when I say green, like rate of return and then how much I'm getting in cash flow. And I was like, man, I gotta take it. So, and then I was like, I'm about to invest into it. I was like, what else am I gonna do with this money that I got sitting here that I made on my flips and stuff? I'm like, I'm about to invest it. And then that's what I did. And so that deal was dope. So $5,000 down just to give her for a house that's worth $240,000. She only owes 171. And the interest rate is fixed for 40 years at 5.5.
Now, did you
And then,
sell or finance any portion of any more? So what was the total purchase price?
so the total purchase price would have been the 171 plus the 5,000. So it was 176.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you didn't do too much over that. It was
No.
just like, okay, we'll do, so she actually only ended up making $5,000 out of the deal,
That was
but
it.
she got rid of the house. You
She got rid
solved
of
her problem,
She got
you
rid of the
know?
house. It needed work, when I first got it, man, I seen rat poop in the basement. I was like, oh God, no, God, no. So I seen all those things, we did pest control, things are
Yeah.
good there. But there's just a point where she just was over it. Like she was done with it. It was too much. And then, she was able to bring it over to me. And I loved it, man. That was like my favorite deal.
Yeah. So the CEO says, "Smart man, bringing up the credit score for you. Bring up the credit score for you." So
Yeah, because I mean,
that's
she
awesome.
wasn't. She was at that point where it's like the next 2 months, she was like, "I'm not going to be able to pay the mortgage payment," and
Right.
she was actually very thankful when I closed that deal, because she didn't have anything to do with the property anymore.
Yeah.
So I definitely helped her out, and as an investor, you can't go and buy that house cash. Like they would have only made 10 grand if they would have put $30,000 into it.
Right.
Even 40,000. So it would have been a deal they would have just walked away from.
Yeah. And that 10,000 would be easily eaten up by realtor fees, closing fees,
Exactly.
whatever, negotiation fee, like
Absolutely.
everything out there.
Absolutely.
So 100%, I think that is a smoking deal. Now, did you calculate the new updated taxes and everything?
Yeah. So I did include that. So and even after that, I'll still be in the green, once they,
Okay.
go up because it fluctuates for like 2 years. So I'll
Yep.
still be in the green when it comes to that. And so that's when I said, all right, cool. And even if I get a Section 8 tenant, I might go down a little bit, because I got a person right now at 1750. She wants it. And I'm like, I'm really asking for 1900. But
Yeah.
again, if that money's coming in every month,
And if it's
if
guaranteed,
if she's a decent tenant or whatever, then
yeah.
we can go that route. But that spread between what she owed at a $930 payment. This was a nice house, man. This house was 1,600 square feet, a 3-bed,
Okay.
bath and a half with a basement. This was actually one of the bigger homes that I've actually renovated. But it didn't need
Wow.
as much work, but it was a nice home. And I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
this is just a nice house, bro.
Mhm.
So the upside of it is so nice. Like right now, I could sell and still win, you
Yeah.
know, if I wanted to just sell and then, pay my taxes. I probably would walk away with a nice amount, but I'm going to keep it as a rental. because if it's 240 now, in 5 years from now, that thing can probably touch 300,000. You know what I'm saying?
How far into the 40-year mortgage was she?
So she just did it in 2016, so not far at all.
Okay, so 2016, you're at, what, 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. You still got some of that beginning. You pay all the interest and everything
Like
in the
15
beginning
years.
mainly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
that's good.
I was,
And
I was
spread out over
surprised.
40 years,
Yeah, I was
not
surprised.
30.
I was like, when they told me 40 years, and I think I recorded the call, I'm on the phone, I was like, what? So I wasn't too excited, but then I'm like, listen, man, if I can just cash flow this house, everything, whatever,
Yep.
man. You know what I'm saying? But if I decide to refinance down the road, if it makes sense, then I can just refinance at a hopefully a better rate than a 5.5. That's the only way I would do it. And then I could possibly pull out cash or just do a rate and term, whatever, but as long as it
Yeah.
cash flows, it's all I care about. It's a sub 2 deal, and I liked it, man. So that was my second
But
seller finance deal, and I love that one.
And one thing that you're not mentioning that you also make money out of, not there's the cash flow, there's all the rental, the appreciation, but there's also one more thing, depreciation.
Oh, absolutely. I wish I had my I
Depreciation.
wish I had
Everybody's
my
like,
I
well,
wish
what's
I had my horn.
that?
I wish I had my
Well,
horn
deep.
here, man. Yes.
I know, man. I don't have none of that set up. I'm not as fancy as you,
Mhm.
but
There you
uh,
go.
but depreciation, when you're doing fix and flips and you're doing wholesaling, that is considered right now money, and you can uh, basically you're going to get taxed at the highest rate.
Yeah.
So you
Yep.
have these properties to put depreciation, and now you can bring that down, that taxable income.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
So
That is the game of the wealthy, man, is the depreciation. That's why they love real estate, because you can make cash flow. So you're making money on an asset, and then you can write
mhm.
this thing off against all these other things you got to pay money on.
Yep.
And for 30 years. And so, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head right with that.
Now, when did you close on this deal?
So I closed on this deal. This was in July, I believe, either July or beginning
Okay.
of August. So,
Okay.
yep,
So
just
there's
finished
enough
up.
time that's gone by. Here's the big question. Did they do the due on sale clause?
I need some wood, man. There's some wood behind me. No, no,
That
no, they haven't.
is what
And I did, and I
everybody's
did,
afraid about.
and I did switch the insurance. I switched the insurance. I forgot how I had to do it. I think I had to still have her name was on there. And
Yeah.
I had my name on there too. So yeah, I switched the insurance. They took my payment, and then we're gonna keep it moving,
The biggest thing that I've seen is even if you switch the insurance, it's perfectly fine as long as you leave the old homeowner's name attached onto the insurance.
Yep.
As soon
Yep.
as you take it off, I've heard,
Yeah.
it's only hearsay, that that's what will be a big red flag.
Yeah.
So
Yep. That's what I was
uh,
told as well.
yeah. So that's awesome. And you didn't get the due on sale clause. Knock on wood. So I just knocked on wood for you there. So,
If
and
I do, I'll just sell it in 6 months, man. So whatever.
I know. And there's also a different, when they do the due on sale clause, they're not saying, oh, give me all the money tomorrow or we'll take the property. They're going to give you a time frame,
Yeah.
So now you can put backups, and you know what? Okay, deed it back to them and do it as a land contract for the exact price.
There you go.
So that's one way to do it. And so does your paperwork go over all of these? If these problems occur, what happens, or if you stop paying, what happens, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so they have defaults. Yep. So there's defaults in the paperwork we sign at closing that states,
Okay.
if I miss a payment, and she comes back and she proves that I missed a payment, she is able to then get the house back.
Okay.
So that is in there, right there. Yep, there's consequences, for me missing a payment. So, that just incentivizes me to stay on top of it. And then,
Mhm.
once you get it rented out, you just go ahead, slap that thing on auto pay and make sure the payments are coming out.
Are you using a servicing company or just doing it yourself?
I'm
Logging
just
into
doing it
our
myself.
account and doing.
Yeah, I'm just doing it myself. So I'm
Okay.
logged. I got her access to her online banking, or not online banking, but
Mhm.
online for the mortgage, and then I just have that thing come out. So no, I'm not
Okay.
using a servicing company, but you can, like another escrow company.
Mhm.
I just chose not to.
Right. So if you get multiple of these, you're probably going to want to do a servicing company. It's only a few bucks, I believe, so
Yeah,
it's not highly expensive. But one thing a servicing company, from what I hear, does is it's helpful for the seller because,
yeah,
say, 6 months or a year down the road they want to go purchase a new property. Well, it's still going to be in their debt to income ratio, and with you showing that through the servicing company that you've been paying the mortgage for a year, 6 months, they can prove that you're basically responsible, and they can take it off their debt to income ratio.
yeah, yep. And I think there's a letter. So I've never actually ran through this process, so I can't speak to it 100%. But from what I've
I
heard from
haven't either, so this is just what I've heard.
Yeah, from
So,
I've heard from I think about two investors. They were like, "There's a letter I think you have to get written up and notarized,
mhm,
that states that you're paying it, and then the underwriter of that house that they're gonna have to buy, it's kind of up to their discretion if kind of say, okay,
yeah,
this, yeah, and I think you're gonna have to still show that payment history coming out of your bank account, then that
yep,
letter, and then it'll show that okay, they're the ones actually paying it, but." Like you said, anything that you can kind of do to show paperwork would be, in your own benefit and then good for the seller, right? The seller can then see that you're paying.
yep. Exactly. And now that, hey, when you make a payment, not only do you get the email, but the seller gets the email to verify, you know.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
um I'm actually dealing with this with my mother's house at the moment, where I have to basically log in and pay her mortgage and do all of
Yeah.
that. So it's interesting because we had it set up with a ladybird deed with her
I heard of that.
house.
Yeah.
So basically, all it states, it's a quiet claim deed that all it states is, in um if I were to pass away in my death, this property goes to this person.
Yeah.
So if I were to ever go sell it, to do anything like that, it's filed, recorded. All I got to do is provide her death certificate,
Gotcha.
and the property's in my name. So, you know,
Yeah.
um,
I've heard of that before through an attorney, the probate attorney.
yes, it helps keep us out of probate, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, because
Yeah.
honestly, that was the only asset that she really had, was the house.
Yeah.
So she wanted, before she passed away, we set that up, and so that any credit card debt or any
Couldn't come
creditors or
after you.
whatever couldn't come back. So
Yeah. That's smart.
um, yeah. So we got about 10 more minutes. I'd love to talk with you all day, but I want to be respectful of your time. I try to keep it to an hour. And you know, what are you planning on doing in the future? What is your future goals at the moment? And how can we help you in this community to kind of reach your goals in the future?
Yeah. So what I'm really focusing on is growing my real estate agent side of the business. I'm
Okay.
really looking to strengthen that income stream a little bit more because what I'm starting to see, again, when I'm making these calls and I'm marketing, I'm starting to see that okay, this can turn into a buyer, and I've sold some listings through those.
Hmm.
So I'm looking to ramp that back or ramp it up so that I can do more deals. Of course, that's more deals to invest. And then those relationships will just keep that thing rolling and eventually turn it into a referral based business down the road. So that's really what I've been focusing on, just doing
Okay.
more agent deals, just to do more investing, really. And that's what I've been focusing on. And being an agent, to be honest with you, it's not as
Hmm.
bad as a lot of wholesalers like think. It
Hmm.
actually just adds a tool to your tool belt. You're able to look at things a lot different. you know, and when you're talking to a seller, you can give them like 3 and 4 different options. And then
Yes.
a lot of times they may say, you know what, I want to list my home. So now you got a nice home. You don't have to walk away from that deal. And that's why I want to ramp that business up, because it's just good to be able to get that income coming in. So that's really what I've been focusing on for the next year.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's the biggest thing is even as a wholesaler, you have all these different tools that you use from when you're talking to these sellers. And
Yeah.
being a realtor is just another tool in your tool belt. I think that most wholesalers should get their realtor's license, okay, because you will eventually need it, okay.
Yep.
Now you can have your realtor's license and just not use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like it's a tool in the tool belt. I have not gotten mine, but I will eventually get mine. I still have my day job, my 9 to 5. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, when do you plan on leaving your 9 to 5?
Oh man, that's a good question. At the moment, I'm a little different than everybody else is going to tell you. I'm
Okay.
planning on using my job, and I'm just going to plan on using them until I don't need them. Right? See, this is the
Hmm.
thing. This is how I look at my 9 to 5. So people want to quit abruptly, emotionally, and I'll keep this short. But there's a lot of things that you get from your job, right? Your 401k, if your job has one, you get benefits.
Yep.
That's very costly. Some people may have an HSA, which is like health savings account. You
Hmm.
can have a daycare flex spending account, which I have kids.
Yep.
There's a lot of things, discounts and perks that you get from your job. You just have to learn how to use them for yourself, right? And
Yes.
so that's why I'm going to continue working as long as I can continue doing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
If I don't reach that crossroad where I have to make a decision, I'm just going to keep doing both. I mean, why not? And then the 9 to 5 still takes care of my living lifestyle. And then my investing is just padding. My being an agent is just more padding so that I can do
Hmm.
more investing and buy more properties so that now my passive income stream will be able to take care of me. So I'm going to
Hmm.
continue working, man. I mean, like I said, I look at my 401k and I'm like, this is just a benefit. They're giving me free money.
Right.
I do a matching. You're
Right.
giving me free money, and I'm gonna keep working, and I'm gonna work that thing up to the point where I can max that thing out, and I don't have to. And I enjoy my job. I'm in IT, so it helps me. And I like traveling and stuff too. So I'm gonna
Hmm.
continue working. Most people probably tell me stop, do whatever, but I can do both. And I haven't really reached that part where it's gotten
So
super overwhelming.
so your job is more flexible than say most other people's jobs.
I would
And
say
that's
so.
the good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
travel a lot.
yeah.
So yeah, it's flexible for sure.
And I think you actually like your day job as well. There's that might be a different answer for somebody who doesn't like their day job. I
Exactly.
like my day job, so I'm just as same as you. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep doing it until I have passive income basically replacing my income. And even then, the only way that I would really say, okay, no, I'm going to make the jump is if, okay, now my day job is being a hindrance to my passive income,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean,
you
that's the
know?
only reason if you got that crossroad. But other than that,
Yep.
I'm gonna keep running up, the 9 to 5 until I can. And that's just how I want to do it. Like I said, there's those things that people don't think about when they leave. Insurance is expensive, right? And those are the
Hmm.
things where if I can continue to have that while having passive income and investing, I'm just gonna keep doing that.
Most definitely. So that's awesome. We've gotten some really good, we got BMAC on here, just
Shout
doing
out to
the,
B-Mac.
signing papers over here.
Let me
I
see if I get it.
appreciate that. I appreciate you commenting, you know. I appreciate everybody who commented in the chats and adding to the discussion. I really do appreciate it. So how can people, if they want to get in touch with you, they want to, hey, I want Real Estate Jay Jonez to be my realtor.
Yeah,
So how can people get a hold of you if they have deals that they want to sell you, if they have
yeah,
deals they want to work with you on with JVing or anything like that?
yeah.
How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can reach me out on Instagram at Real Estate
Okay.
Jay Jones. Jones is with the Z. I'm on there, and then also Facebook. If you type in Real Estate Jay Jonez, I'm there as well. So yeah, I can be reached on Instagram, Facebook. And then if you want to see any content, of course, I have a YouTube channel, and that's Real Estate Jay Jonez as well. So yeah, if you want to, use me as your realtor, reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. Love to help, I love to educate, and I love to get deals done. So, that's where you guys can reach out to me at.
That's awesome. And when, by the way, I have all 3 of those links linked in the description below. And one quick question before we go, we still got a few minutes left, but have you thought about doing, investing out of state?
No, I haven't. No, man. I want to take care of my backyard first. There's so many deals in Michigan. There's so many deals right here in Macomb and Oakland County. I still got a lot to pick up there.
That's awesome. Okay. See, the only way I would be doing out of state is if it was, I had my systems in place. It was a multifamily where I'm partnering up with somebody who's done it before, things like that.
Yeah.
So
it's no point in jumping forward if you haven't already mastered your backyard, in my opinion, but that's me.
That's awesome. So I really do appreciate you coming on. I know this was a last minute, decision for us to come together, but I know anytime I can call you, you're right there for me. So
I appreciate it. I love talking real estate, man. I love it, man. Anytime I can talk about it, because man, this is a small world, bro. And when you start talking real estate to people, they start saying, all right, what? But I just love being able to interact, learn new things, see what people are doing, and then share what I've learned. So I love it. Anytime I can come on here and do that, I'm always available. And
that's one thing I love about me, you, way we talk, things like that. But not only that, but our community. So, I just posted this today or yesterday. I can't remember which. I think it was today. We just crossed 6,000 members in the Facebook group. So that is awesome. That's and huge. 6,000 members in the Detroit area, or at least people working in the Detroit area. So it is crazy. I'm telling you. And the CEO, yes, Real Estate Jay Jonez, just like that, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, it's crazy. I love this community, and I love giving back as much as possible. Hence why we are doing this live. I actually started this whole podcast because of my Facebook group, and we built the YouTube channel on top of that. So I'm happy to bring everybody out here and bring everybody to the YouTube world as well. And the CEO, yes, on YouTube as well, the same spelling. So I'm going to bring you down, and then we'll have a quick closing, and then we'll talk in just a minute. But all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in 2 weeks from today. We will have another guest. All right. Have a good day. Let's all do deals together.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room.